Hey, what's up everyone? We're going to talk about another Amazon find here, and this is I call it the GM style coil spring compressor, and you'll see why this is different than the one that you're going to use at the parts store. If you have any kind of car that has a coil spring inside of like a double wishbone suspension or inside a wishbone, you're going to need this one, and the one that they rent you at the parts store is not going to work. I learned that the hard way on a 96 Buick Roadmaster, and my buddy had a Lincoln Town car that had the same front style suspension setup, and this saved both of our butts. So we open it up here. As you can see, this is a different style of spring compressor. The ones that you see at the parts store, they've got basically it's just a threaded rod with like two little like hooks on there, and you put one on either side of the spring, and you just kind of tighten them down individually, and it will just basically compress the spring. The problem with that is that if you do it that way, that'll work on something like a Jeep where you can actually just drop the coils between the socket, between the frame and the axle. But on something that has a wishbone setup, you can't actually fit the spring out of the wishbone with the spring compressor attached. So you'll be able to compress the spring, but you won't be able to get the actual whole apparatus out. That's where this comes into play. So what happens here is this little fork feeds on the bottom of the spring. Let's imagine that we had a coil spring right here. You insert this guy up through the bottom of the spring, and it attaches. Okay? And then what'll happen is the fork, you put the fork here on the bottom of the spring. And again, that's what these little guys, these are gonna grab the springs here on the bottom. And the whole thing is gonna sit this way. And these are gonna be up. And then on the bottom, you can either put a wrench, or I don't recommend it, but you can actually put an impact on this, and this will actually draw this and bring the whole thing down, and it will compress the whole spring, and then you'll be able to drop it out of the car or put it back into the car without being necessarily wider than the spring itself. So good tool to have, and highly recommend it.